everybody, my name is Tanya and welcome to my September TBR. So as with my August wrap up, I'm filming this on the 6th of September, so some of September has already gone by. Depending on how things go today with editing, this actually may go up before my August wrap up because I am wanting to get my TBR out for a readathon that's starting tomorrow, but hopefully both of those will be coming up today. So my TBR for September was looking pretty quiet actually, compared to what I usually do. And then the lovely Eleanor from Ella Reads Books announced the book Buddy-a-thon, which is a readathon that she's created with Sam from Cold Tea and Crumbs, which is running from the 7th to the 13th of September, and is a readathon that you do with a buddy. And there'll be links to Sam and Eleanor in the description below. My buddy for the week is Erica from Erica Readathon, which I'm super excited about, and again, Erica's channel will be linked down below. So there are a number of challenges to go with this readathon, so I'll run through those first. So the first challenge is to pick out 3 books and get your buddy to choose one of them for you to read, and for that, Erica chose for me Kitchen by Bernardo Yoshimoto. This is something that I've had out from the library for ages, so I really need to get around to reading it. This is something that I don't actually know all that much about, but it's something that I've been meaning to read for a long time. It's also a short book from the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die list, which, as I talked about in my mid-year kind of check-in for my reading goals, I am definitely behind on reading books from the list this year, so it will be good to get this one. Next up, we have to choose a book to buddy read, and that's another one that I have had out from the library for way too long. That is the short 1001 book, and that is Orange Is Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson. This one is a semi-autobiographical novel of growing up in an extremely religious household and then coming out as gay, and I have heard fantastic things about Jeanette Winterson, and this book in particular, but just a lot of books by Jeanette Winterson. This will be my first by her, and I'm really looking forward to it. As I said, this is another one from the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die, and fairly short, so it will be really great to read this one with Erica. The third challenge is to read a book with your buddy's favourite colour on, and Erica's favourite colour is green, and I'm super excited about this one, and for that I have chosen The Chrysalids by John Wyndham. This is something that I've been meaning to read for a really long time. I'm a huge fan of John Wyndham, and I've read a few of his books now, but this is one that I hear particularly fantastic things about, and the cover is very green, and I'm really looking forward to it. The fourth challenge is to read a book that your buddy gave 5 stars to, and for this I've looked through Erica's Goodreads shelves and I've picked out something that I don't own in physical form but I have the audio version of, so I'll pop a picture up here, and that is The Things They Carry by Tim O'Brien. I have the audio version of this narrated by Bryan Cranston, which I've heard fantastic things about, and I've heard just fantastic things about this book. I know Erica and I have talked about it before, that she said you really have to read it, so I thought this was the perfect opportunity to do so. It's a fairly short audiobook, so I should hopefully be able to get it done in the week, or I'll just have to make sure I do. So with my commute, I'll be listening to it for 5 hours, and then some walks on the weekend. I should get there. And the fifth challenge is to read a book you want to, just because. So I picked out The Encounter by Kay Applegate, which is the 3rd book in the Animal series. For the last 2 readathons I've done, I've read books 1 and 2, and I think it's my purpose to try and squeeze one of these into every readathon I do now, because they're teeny tiny. I'm loving revisiting this series, and the 3rd book is narrated by Tobias, who was my favourite, so I'm really looking forward to this. So these 4, and then the audio version of The Things They Carried of what I've got picked out for Book Readathon. Nothing's very big, all of this should hopefully go nice and quickly, and as I said, Kitchen and Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, 1,000 books, as is The Things They Carried. So if I get everything read, and I'm definitely aiming to do so, I will have ticked off 3 short 1,000 books this week, which is fantastic. So on to the rest of my TBR for September, something that I am currently in the middle of, and I'm hoping I can try and knock over most of this afternoon, but we'll see how that goes, because... And so that is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. This is something that I ended up getting Nimi from Nimi M for Secret Santa last year, so we could maybe read it together and hold each other's hands. We didn't get around to doing that earlier in the year, and that's been absolutely fine. But last week, Lindsay from Lindsay Ray decided she was going to read this one for her time-consuming TBR, and Nimi messaged me to say that Lindsay was reading it and did I want to join in, and I said why not. So reading this with her and also with Ayala, and I'm not sure whether she has a YouTube channel, but if she does, if I find out, I will link that down below too. So I'm reading this one with them. Lindsay's finished already. I am around halfway through, although the section I'm in at the moment is quite sparse and there are pages that have only got a few words on the page, so hopefully it will continue on in quite a fast vein. We'll see. I am enjoying this so far. I've heard really creepy things about it, but I haven't been creeped out yet, but I've got the whole second half to go, so I best not speak too soon. Next up, I've got another buddy read with some wonderful ladies, and this is a spoiler alert for a book haul that I have to film, even though I've got 2 installments of another book haul to edit still, and I've got quite a lot of books to haul again. I think BookTube finally hit. Oh dear. But anyway, the next book I'll be reading is Harriet by Elizabeth Jenkins, and yes, it's one of the Great Persephones. I purchased this one specifically for the butter read, and I understand it's based on a true story and sounds absolutely fascinating. I'm not going to go into any more than that. I will tell you all about it when I've finished it. And because it's obligatory, the end papers look like this. Then we've got my Agatha Christie for the month, and this time it is Sparkling Cyanide. This one is first time reading for me. I've not read this one before, and it's one that doesn't have one of her regular detectives. I don't actually know all that much about it, but I am really looking forward to it, as with all of her works. And maybe this month will be the time that I actually get the whodunit. And then the last two things I've got are things from the most recent Book Right Quarterly box, so the 7th box, I think. Hopefully I'll get to these too, but everything else will have a higher priority. There were two things that came in that box. The first one is The Word Exchange by Anna Graydon, and this is something that I eyed off ages ago when it first came out here in Australia, and I'd never actually picked up, so I was excited to get this one in the box, and I'm so glad that I didn't actually purchase it back then. And then the second book that I got is something that I never heard of, and probably something, again, that I wouldn't purchase, so I'm enjoying the quarterly boxes for that. It's another non-fiction, and that is Smarter Than You Think by Clive Thompson, or How Technology is Changing Our Minds for the Better. And so this one's going to talk about technology and the effect that it's had on society and about human intelligence, and I think that sounds all very fascinating, and again, something I wouldn't have picked up otherwise, but I'm glad to give this one a go. And the jar is starting to get quite empty now. There's only 4 more picks for the year, but let's find out what my BookTube recommends pick for the month is. This one. And that is this guy getting old yet? It is Yes Please by Amy Poehler, which is the one that was recommended to me by Patty from ISMR Books. This one she recommended me specifically the audio version narrated by Amy Poehler herself. So after I finish the things they carried, I will then move on to Yes Please. This is everything that I've got planned for September. It started off really quite quiet and then things exploded a little bit, but anyway, so if you've read any of these ones, let me know down in the comments, or if you've got any questions. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!